Hey guys, Kirk here, and thank you for joining me on a new video on the channel. In this week's video we're going to be looking at transition blending, and essentially what I mean by transition blending is we are going to create a material layer that will automatically blend our grass textures and rock textures from our slopes, and it will create the blend in between them two textures. Now, I know what I just said doesn't make much sense, but essentially in last week's video what we did was create our slope logic or our slope detection logic, where it will automatically showcase the rock texture or the rock slope layer on our landscape dependent on the angle at which we set in the material instance. But as you can see on screen here, we've got our rock texture here and we've got our grass texture. As you can see, we've got our grass and it goes straight into the rock. And yes, this does look good. I must admit, it does look alright. I've had worse results in the past. But what I want to do is to have a material layer in there where it will look like it's transitioning. It will break up the grass texture and then break up a bit on the rock texture. And it'll just create that little bit of dirt, that little bit of transition, if you like, from the grass to the rock. And that's essentially what I want to do in this week's video. Now, we've already got our slope logic and we've already got our material layer. So in hindsight, the video will not take that long. And that is something different from my channel, as my videos are quite detailed and very long, which I don't mind personally. But this video is going to be a lot shorter, I presume. But this will give me the opportunity to give my viewers, my community members, some good news. The first one being is a Discord. So over the past few weeks, like 2, 3, 4 weeks, I've had various messages and various emails saying your community is growing. I've got like 1,700 subscribers, which isn't a lot in this day and age. But considering my channel is only a year old, I feel that that is good, and I could not be in this progression or state without you guys supporting me. So this week I've decided to create my own Discord community. So I've spent most of the week creating that Discord, and it is now up and running and ready to join. So there is a link in the description below for where you can join this new Discord. Over the past couple of years, I've been residing in MR3D, his Discord. I've been in his Discord for nearly 2.5 years. As admin now, I'm an admin of his server. I will be remaining in that server, but a lot of my attention will now be going over to my new Discord. So if you are on the same wavelength of me, as in environmental art, shader creation, and soon to be on this channel level design, then go ahead and join my Discord server and make yourself known, say hello and all that good stuff, where you will get a lot more help from people who have the same interests. Another area I'd like to point out, on my channel we're at a stage now where I can enable a membership program. So also this week, along with my Discord, I have been working on a membership program. This is completely optional, even though it would support me in a lot of ways, and I would very much appreciate it. I do have a membership program on my channel now, so you can just go ahead and click join. I've got 2 tiers or 2 levels of membership. The first one being is level 1, where you can essentially buy yourself a coffee from Costa. For the same price, you can subscribe to my membership program at level 1, where you'll get a lot more access and a lot more perks on Discord. We'll have our own little chat section where you can communicate directly with me and get some personal help. I also have a level 2 membership program where you will get the same perks as level 1, but with level 2 you'll get free content to download. You will also get one-on-one personal help from me via a voice chat and streaming. So you could stream your screen, I could see what you're doing and help to the best of my ability. And also with the level 2 membership, along with the downloadable content and the one-on-one personal help, you will also get a copy of the project that we are working on, on the BWV2. This project will be updated every month, so if you remain a member each month, you will get an updated copy of this project as it rolls out through the tutorials, along with the downloadable content as well, where you could get, it could be random, it'll be random every month, it could be a set of textures, or it could be a little asset or something, or it could be a full-on shader, a full-on project, or whatever. That's just to be randomly selected. So yeah, if you want to show a lot more support than you are doing now, then head over to my membership program and sign up. That'll be much very appreciated. Okay, so let's get on with the video. So in last week's video we created this auto material function where we are using the layer blending function that we created last week and these material layers that we've created over the course of the past few videos, and we also created this slope detection logic which in this week's video we need to make an addition to right here, where we can apply this other material layer. Okay, so what I want to do first is to actually choose a material layer that I'm going to use. I'm going to go for a dirt material layer. This essentially I feel will be too bright, so I'll choose something else. What's in dirt B? So yeah, dirt B could be alright. I mean, this is more of a cliff slope texture, if you like. More like if this if this cliff went a bit more straight, like vertically, then this texture would show up. That would be a good one for there. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to use that material layer, which is dirt B. Okay, so I'm going to come into my auto material function. This is my two layers I'm using now, the grass and the slope. And I've got my slope detection for that. I'll make the additions in our slope detection function, which is already open actually. And this is really simple, guys. It's really simple to do this. If you think about it, we've got our logic, our mask, which is creating the slope. But what I want to do is to have a separate bit of logic where we could change the slope values a little bit more, so the dirt layer would show up before the slope layer. So essentially all we have to do here is to copy these. Left control, we're going to highlight them. Left control and D and just make a copy. And then I want to apply some input functions. So I'm going to drag off our constant amount and just type input and get a function input. And our first one here is slope blend sharpness. So I'm going to call this slope transition sharpness, like so. So we've got a slope transition sharpness, and from this power node here I want a new input function, or function input, and we'll call this a slope transition intensity, like so. So now essentially what we've got is the same as this, but this is more for our slope transition. We would need a new output, so I'm going to duplicate that, and this one's called slope mask, but this will be called transition mask. Like so. I hope I'm spelling these right. Put one in there. We'll go to the output transition mask, like so. And essentially what we need to do now is to just simply drag off this saturate, put it into the power. And now we've got two separate bits of logic where we control the transition sharpness and the actual blend sharpness, which is great. I can actually move these out and set these into there as well. And we could set these to use the preview. We could simply just use the same values. It really doesn't make a difference, so long as we have something supporting it so we don't get an error on the outside. What we need to do now is to set our priorities. So I want to add the remove slope input still at the bottom. So I am going to start with our slope blend sharpness, leave that at 1, the intensity, oh wait there, so the intensity is 0, the sharpness is 1, then this intensity can be 2, this can be 3, and we'll make sure that's set to 5, we'll just hit apply. Like so, and we'll save it, and then we'll come back to our auto material. As you can see, we've got 2 new inputs. We'll just move these out the way. And now we can simply right click on these inputs and promote to parameter. I'm going to get rid of the brackets with the S in, which indicate it's a scalar parameter. Right click there, promote to parameter. There we go. I'm going to give these a relatively same value. In fact, I'm going to copy the word transition. The reason I'm just going to duplicate these because these have got the min and max already set up. I'm going to delete them, highlight these two and left control and D. I'll just highlight these, double click on the blend word, left control and V. Oh wait there. That didn't work out correctly. I'm going to right click, I'll just spell it, never mind. I'll just put transition, like so. We'll do the same for this one. Blend, we'll go transition. Like so. We'll keep them in the same group. We'll have the blend set to 0, sharpness set to 1, this set to 2, and this one set to 3 in the set priority. We'll do this like so. We'll just hit apply. And now we've got our scalar parameters set up with our slope detection. What I need to do now is utilize this with a new layer blend function. I'll drag these off a bit. I'll just get the layer blend function, left control and D, and just duplicate it. What I need now is my dirt B. I'll bring that in here. Now with this, the way this works is I want to blend our slope and our dirt B layer together and then blend our grass layer into them 2 layers. So the way we're going to do this, I'm going to drag this grass layer and go to the top. Right, so I think it's the top. I can always come back and change. And then the layer blending function here will drag to the base material input along with the height. And then this can simply go out to the outputs like so. You can see we're getting an error because it's expecting a mask input. Before that, I'm going to put the dirt B layer into where that grass layer was, like so. And now, like I say, it's expecting a input from our mask. As you can see from the slope detection that we just created, there's our transition mask, and we'll just throw that in there. And now is for the moment of truth. As you can see there at the top, we're getting some weird artifacts. We'll just hit apply and let's just have a look what happens here. Let's give it a moment to compile. Okay, so as you can see, it's not quite the response I was expecting. But all we have to do is to change some scalar parameter values in our material instance. So I'm going to pull this out. And we'll just, essentially what you could do if you want to make your material instance the full height of your screen, just grab the top bar so you can move it up and down and just hit the top and you can see it spreads it out all the way down. So let's just go ahead and change some values here. So our slope blend intensity, one trick, instead of having to move it and watch it change here, one trick we can do is if the area you want to change on your landscape, just click on it, and when you change these values, it should automatically change on the landscape, but it is technically not. Okay, so we're just going to change some of these values a little bit. So, as you can see, our values are not what I expected. So we come back into the auto material, and what I'm simply going to try is to invert this. So I'm just going to drag off our transition mask and get a 1 minus. Like so, and just throw that back into the mask. Like so. As you can see, that looks a little bit more better. So if I hit apply, we'll come back to our scene and let this compile. So as you can see here now, this looks a little bit better like it did before. What I need to do now is just to play about with our values a bit. Let's just increase. I click on the landscape, you should see it changing. Like so. Increase that. So wait there a hot second. So our actual transition is turned into the slope. Yeah. So our transition is turned into the slope and our slope is turned into the transition. This is quite common. You just need to essentially swap these two around. Like so. Let's hope that works. Even though I was kind of enjoying that visualization of that then. So I'm going to reduce the transition here. You can see it's actually changing now. I've clicked on the landscape. So my slope, my transition slope is going to be set. Let's set this to 3 for argument's sake. We'll set our transition sharpness to 1 or 5 maybe. That's a lot more sharp than blended, if you like. We'll set this one to 4. And what I essentially need to do now is just increase this. Maybe it needs to go below 3. There you go. Okay, so what's happened here is the same thing. That. Let's have a look. Let's just swap these over. This is the debugging stage, if you like. We've just got to, essentially that doesn't look right, to be honest, but we'll hit apply. I don't think that's the swap I need to make, to be honest. It should now show grass where our slopes are, yeah. So that's not the swap I want to make. So we'll just quickly fire them back in there. Like so. We'll hit apply. Go and check our scene now. As you can see here, our transition is inside the slope, essentially. And that's something we don't want. Like so. I think we might have got it here now. It's been a bit of a pain in the bum. One of them needs inverting. So, let's just go back to this. It's all about testing here now. Trying to find the right balance. That did belong in there. Let's just throw these two back together. And we'll just mess about with the values. That looks better. Maybe I had it set up the right first, or I just didn't play with the values. Let's just hit apply and let this reform. Let's have a look here. Right, there you go. We've got it. So if I go 2 there now, with that value, and I'll increase this value, you can see, but then I can increase this value for the slope. Right, I get that. So, the transition needs to be quite considerably higher. Well, 0.5, you can see there's our transition layer. We'll reduce that to about here, that'll do. Then we'll just start increasing our slope. And you can see our cliff texture coming into it now. Like so. Let's move ourselves a little bit closer here, because this has worked. It's exactly how I wanted it. The texture is not too bad as well, but you can see here that's where the transition layer is. I just increase this cliff slope and just increase our transition. Like so. And now we're getting a transition blend in there as well. What I'm going to do is just increase the sharpness. We're going to go 4 and 4 so we can clearly see what's going on here. And if we reduce our transition, you can see it's pulling away that transition now. And the more I reduce the transition underneath the slope blend, it'll just take the slope blend back as well. So it's good to have maybe 2.8 for our slope blend, and then just push that up a little bit higher. There you go. And now you can see the transition texture coming through right there. And that is exactly what I wanted. We could increase that a little bit more. We could reduce the sharpness so it's more of a blend. Reduce that right down. There we go. And that is how you will create a transition blend. You can clearly see the transition blend there along with the slope blend. Like I stated at the beginning of the video, guys, it's important to choose the right textures at this stage. The texture itself, our transition texture, is not too bad, to be honest. It would need a little bit of work. Like with the contrast, I could increase the contrast, maybe a 1, 5, 0. Maybe I'm on the wrong one there. 0, 5, 0. That's a wrong dirt layer, I think. Is it? Dirt B, sorry. That's right below it. I come to the contrast, put a 1 in there. You can clearly see that transition where it is now. Obviously, you won't want your contrast that high. So we'll go for a 0.45, like so. And then we could just maybe increase our intensity, our brightness, sorry, like so. And now we're getting a nice transition blend from our grass to our slope rock. Okay then, that is it for this video. As you can see, we do need to sort this transition out a little bit. It's not like it doesn't work, it's just the textures that's throwing me off a little bit. Like if I increase that, you can see it takes over the transition. The more I reduce it, you can see the transition is clearly there now. If I reduce that sharpness, it proper blends in with that rock. Or you can increase the sharpness for more of a sharp line right there. Okay, so that is it for this week's video. In next week's video, we're going to start looking at blending flatlands together. I.e., what I mean is our grass texture, we're going to incorporate a different texture based off maybe a purling noise or a macro variation texture, and implement a secondary layer into there, which will then furthermore break up some repetition and make it look a little bit more realistic than just all green grass. Okay, so keep in mind, guys, there is a new Discord community. So in the link, in the description below is the link, and I also will have a membership program up and running, no doubt by the time this video is released. So I will look forward to speaking to you all soon, and thank you very much for everyone's support. I'll see you later.